Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. 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 Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Good evening. This is Truth Lies Shenanigans, the live show for Wednesday, December 16th, 2020. I go by the name Neo Nix, and for today's show, Lizzie asks, is it racist for white students to perform a reading of the play Fences? Rob B tells us about the zombie version of Angelina Jolie being put in jail. I'll be talking about Biden officially winning and then throwing a ton of shade at Trump. And our Gianni Storm talks about genetically altered pigs, asking if you like your GMO bacon crispy.
GMO swine, GMO swine.
All right, let's get into our quick fire question of the day. All right, my friends, 48-year-old Shaquille O'Neal was checking out 25-year-old Megan Thee Stallion live on Instagram when he wrote, "Checking out that booty." In the comments, to which his son responded, "I feel you, Pops." What advice do you have for Shaq trying to holler at Megan? Lizzie.
Sit your ass down, Shaquille. Sit down.
Robbie.
Sit down.
There are better ways to try and create father and son bonding moments.
Gianni Storm.
He should definitely shoot his shot because Megan has expressed that she actually likes sugar daddies and like the daddy type stuff.
I say if he was really trying to holler, that was some seriously weak game. You got to do better than that, Shaq.
Yeah. So. I don't think she wants a sugar daddy who has 5 kids already. Like, babe, you could do better than Shaq. You could do better than Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq is not the one. I don't know, but so I mean, do you think he was really trying to?
I think low-key he is really trying.
You really?
I think he's really trying.
Oh,
this is
why would he even attempt?
Yeah. Shaq will probably try to hit anything he can.
Except free throws. He'll try to hit anything except free throws.
Yeah, he can't hit no free throws. All right, so it's time to check in with our hosts. So let's start off with our professor, writer, editor, journalist, Lizzie Enders.
What's up? Happy hump day, everyone. Just sitting here in Washington, D.C., basking in all of this fake snow that we got today. Hope you guys fared better out there with the snow, with the storm, and that you were able to make a nice snowman like Frosty.
All right, so everyone wants to know again, what is that cocktail today?
Oh, today it's it's my usual absolute cream soda. However, there's not a lot of cream soda in this one, so we are doing the absolute version with just like a splash.
Absolute version. All right. Nice. So our rock star with the band Fallen Machine, coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Rob B. Rock. What's going on, Rob B?
Same old. We got our snow. We have our snow here officially. We did have green grass up until about 3 days ago, and then we got a foot. And winter is here. It's about it's about minus 20, minus 30 Celsius here. So minus 30 Celsius, minus 30 Fahrenheit. That's about the same benchmark. So cold.
So jealous.
So how are you enjoying your PS5? You're like one of the few people that actually has a PS5.
I don't have a lot of PS5 specific titles at this point. There are a couple of free upgrades, and I didn't buy it for any particular reason, but it's a sweet machine. It really is. Yeah, it's a nice game.
I should be getting one then, is what you're suggesting, even though I only play one game.
You need that air purifier. Wink.
The air purifier.
Robbie, how did you get one and everyone else is like on the
And I'm
waiting
trying to
list or
figure
scrambling to try to get one?
Uh, I did a pre-order. I know. I did something crazy. I prepared.
out. All right. And
Smart.
from Atlanta, Georgia, where there is no snow, the student and our amazing production assistant and host, Gianni Storm.
Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday. It's actually cold, getting colder here. So I found myself wearing a jacket and a scarf and all.
Oh, a
So I mean,
jacket. Oh, and a
Is that
scarf.
I'd
what?
actually like snow.
It's
So
like 60 degrees there? It's 60 degrees there? That's cold?
yeah, I know, Liz, but I'm from Rhode Island, so I'm used to actually the blizzards and all of that. So I got spoiled when I moved to the South. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you miss it? Do you miss the blizzards, the New England blizzards?
Yeah, I miss the snow and the snowman
And the
and all of
snowman.
the fun.
I'm
Nice.
sure you can go back if you want. Don't forget, Gianni does does our TikToks. So make sure you're checking out our TikTok page at TLS Live Shows. A lot of fun TikToks on there.
It's very fun.
It looks like Latoya Blakely's online talking about we got a dusting, but it was enough.
No. We
Mike
got
Winter
like
says, Liz, you need to have some cider.
no.
Ooh.
That's an
Mm.
inside joke from years ago, but I no longer really drink cider because it's really sweet. And so I have to pick and choose. With diabetes, I have to pick and choose where I'm going to get my sugar. And so I choose absolute cream sodas.
Okay. All right. So if you've never been to TLS Live before, we'll be sharing our truths and opinions with you, calling out the lies and pointing out the ridiculous shenanigans going on. And we're going to have a lot of fun with some shenanigans of our own. Just remember, our show streams live just about everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and we're streaming live on TikTok and Instagram. I see we have a few people on TikTok watching right now at TLS Live Show across all the platforms. Make sure you hit that follow button, share this feed, invite your friends. Most importantly, join in the conversation. We want your live comments and questions to be part of this show. And so you don't miss another episode, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Google, Alexa, Pandora, iHeart. You'll find us wherever you listen to your podcast. All right, let's jump right on into the hot topics, guys. We got some really, really good topics today.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, the way the hot topics works, one of our hosts will start us out and tell us if their topic is a truth, lie, or shenanigans. Give a little background and we'll talk about it until time is up when we'll see our friend, Genji. And then we'll go to our live audience questions and comments to talk about that topic. So make sure you're online talking to us. All right, we're going to start off today with Lizzie Enders. Lizzie Enders, what we got going on today?
So
Just
we
truth, lie, or
have
shenanigans?
it's truth, but there's a lot of shenanigans, and I think there's a lot of confusion about this topic. So we're going to be going to Charlotte, North Carolina, talking about a young man, a 14-year-old high school student in the 9th grade, and he's at a predominantly white, or he was attending a predominantly white private school. And so as part of the English curriculum for his 9th grade class, they were going to read the August Wilson play, Fences. And so I'm not sure if people are familiar with reading plays in English class, but it's a little bit different. The format's a little bit different than reading an actual book. Usually for plays and scripts, you read the actual text out loud in the class. And so this young man, his name is Jamel, his mother, Faith Fox, took exception to the fact that at this predominantly white school, where he is one of a few Black students or persons of color in his class, that they would not only be reading Fences, but that they would be reading it aloud to the class. And so his mom said in an interview that she imagined her son's mostly white class at the Providence Day School reading the dialogue out loud. She said her main concern was that the themes were too mature for the group and would foster stereotypes about Black families and would single her son out with a bunch of white students saying the N word. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the play Fences, again, it's written by African American playwright August Wilson. It's a Pulitzer Prize-winning play. Different iterations of the play. When I saw the play back in the 80s, I saw it with Darth Vader. You guys know who Darth Vader is?
Yeah.
I
Nice.
saw it. But the most recent version of the play, I also saw it in New York City, where Denzel Washington was playing the lead character, Troy, and that in turn went into a movie version as well. And so, my question to the panel, first and foremost, do you buy into this mother's argument that this particular play or any type of literature that uses racial slurs, uses racial epithets, should be off limits, should not be taught in schools, particularly in predominantly white schools where the African American population is few and far between, or the person of color population is few and far between, to protect the minority student? Who wants to go first?
I was going to jump in, but let's start with Robbie Rock.
God, I knew you were going to do this to me again.
We love you, Robbie Rock.
Take the guy who has no real contextual experience in this and see
Sure you do.
where
I
am. Well, no, because that's it. I mean, at pre-show we were discussing other works of literature that use racial epitaphs. I know that when I was studying up on the story, one of the stipulations that the school had put forward was that they were going to replace any racial slurs in the play with N-word. And you know that just drives me absolutely nuts. Just that supplantation of N-word for racial epitaphs. It's equivalent in my eyes. And in the context, it's absolutely the equivalent. I can absolutely buy into what the mother is saying. If this poor young man if his peers are predominantly white in the classroom, as they're reading this and as they're reinforcing stereotypes that would have been present in the 50s, that they would project this on the kid, or it might be used to mock or derive this poor kid. I understand that there's an importance in retaining the literature and the culture, but not having read Fences, I really don't know how charged it is. But yeah, I'm definitely on board with the mom's reasoning.
I just want to point out on TikTok, we have a shout out for Casual Liberals. Casual Liberals says, "Hey, you guys are awesome." All right, Gianni Storm, what are your thoughts?
Even before we get to Gianni, let me just, Mike Wolf pointed out, because I didn't name the actual actor who played Troy in the Broadway version. No, it's not Hayden Christensen. It's James Earl Jones. So yes. So we can get like some context for the actual play and the characters involved in that. Johnny?
Yeah, so from that story, the 2 points that I really took from this were from the mother. I like that she addressed, instead of addressing the issue, they're making it seem like I'm an angry Black woman. I kind of been hearing that narrative a lot. I'm not saying that that's not what's happening, but it just seems like when I first read the story, it just seemed like, okay, is she just attacking for no reason? But as you get deeper, you realize that she's making a point. Like, why are we still reading these type of books? I mean, I'm sure like these kids are what, 14? They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram. So they've heard these words, they've heard these things before. We don't need to kind of bring it up again. I understand what she's saying. So and then it also shed light to the son when he mentioned that he now understands what Black Lives Matter means when they're saying things like about George Floyd and all of the people in the streets dying and stuff like that. It's not just about the extremeness of it. It's also about like in the schools and in discrimination still happening. So um, I just feel like I'm with her. I understand what she's talking about, and I do agree that certain books like that shouldn't be in school. Why are we reading it? What's the point?
Interesting. Okay. So I have a lot to say on this actually. So in that article, the New York Times article, it said the reason the enrollment was terminated was because of bullying, harassment, and racially discriminatory attacks, including multiple personal attacks against a person of color in the administration, to which the mother denied it. So the mother was apparently making these attacks, and that was the reason the enrollment was pulled. Um, Now, she denied it, saying that they are trying to make her seem like Yanni was saying, an angry, ranting black woman. Um, Now, based upon her argument, right? So I'm inclined to believe that this woman, Faith Fox, fits the stereotype. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's based solely on the whole
Fits what stereotype?
of the angry, ranting black woman stereotype.
Woo!
Right? Let me explain. But let me explain. I'm saying it based solely on the whole basis of her argument in the first place. How in the hell is she? How the hell is reading the play Fences inherently racist? Right? She said that the problem was that the students that she imagined the white students reading the dialogue aloud with all the N words and other racial epithets, and that's why it was wrong to her. Is because she was imagining what it was like for a white student to read it. But how in the world can anyone, black, white, Asian, Latino, learn and understand the concepts provided in the play without reading it? Matter of fact, I was thrilled they were reading the play. You know, how many times in the past decades have we complained about books like this being banned, like Rob B was talking about, or there's no historical context or relevant works about black people? And if I'm being honest, and this is why I made my earlier statement, if you were to reread her comments, right, reread her comments, and you were instead told that this was a white woman speaking, everyone would be talking about she is a Karen, because a lot of her comments were straight Karen-like. If she were a white woman, it would have been a totally different reaction. So those are my thoughts.
Do you think that she could have? I understand the reading of African American literature and stuff like that, but why are all white predominantly school that? Not that they don't need to know about Black culture and history, but it just doesn't make sense, and it's like doesn't make sense.
I mean, I personally think that to go forward, to go forward as because we struggle with trying to. We believe that everyone's equal, right? We believe that. Well, us right here, this group right here. we believe we believe everyone is equal, but but that's not the case for everybody. So how do you get them to also see things that way? And you can't do it without looking at history, looking at where we were, where we came from, without understanding. Even Rob B, for example, has been on this show, and he said several times that he's learned a lot just from being a part of this group that he didn't understand. There was nuances to the struggles that he didn't understand simply because he wasn't aware, right? Because he hadn't experienced those. So if you're not put in a position to experience them, to understand them, to read about them, to learn about them, then you never move forward. You never get better.
And just nailed, there's the difference between knowing of it and understanding it. Because definitely aware of these things, but to understand it with any depth, this has been a safe haven, and I've learned tremendously from my co-hosts and the audience.
Now, what are your thoughts, Lizzie?
So obviously, as an educator, as a Black woman, as someone who has read Fences,
You're a Black woman?
Taut fences, red fences. No, I don't identify as white like some of our other co-hosts, neo-Nicks. I am
Like
a
Rob
black
B.
woman. Rob B said earlier he hasn't even identified as white on this show. That would be you, brother. You.
I have
Um,
not identified as white.
but no, so no. As an educator, as a black woman, as someone who has taught fences, as someone who has read fences, who has seen it on Broadway, who has seen the movie, I question the legitimacy of her argument,
Yeah.
especially when one you consider that the teacher in question is black. So we're talking about a black teacher teaching in a predominantly white school, making a
I
point
actually
of
didn't know the
teaching
teacher was black.
Okay.
making a point of teaching a text by a black author. Okay. But also, we can't have it both ways. We can't, look at the country as a whole and say that our history, our culture, our literature is not being taught. And then when it is taught,
Right.
we pick and choose
Yeah.
which version of it is taught.
So
We
we're in
pick and
agreement.
choose
Yep.
that we only want the cleaned up version that is taught. So if we are going to say that we can't teach because this is a predominantly white school, we can't teach fences because it includes inflammatory language. And it's not just the language. I mean, there are a lot of adult themes in fences, but it's not for naught. It's for a purpose. This is a coming of age story about a black family, a black man in the 50s. But if we're not going to teach fences, do we not teach the narrative of Frederick Douglass,
Mm.
which the N word is used throughout that? Do we not teach Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs? Do we not show the movie
Preach.
Glory?
Yep.
Do we not teach roots? Like, where does it end?
Yep.
And in the pre-show, Rob B and I were having a discussion, and we were talking about other books that do not focus on black families, that aren't from black authors, that have been banned in the United States. Huckleberry Finn being one of them. To Kill a Mockingbird being one of them. Like, these are books that have been banned in the United States, in libraries, in classrooms, because they include the N word. So at what point do we say, okay, we are going to accept this racist past, but we teach it in a certain context that is a teachable moment,
Mm-hmm.
that is educational for our students?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've spoken about this topic before in that my best friend's mom, my other best friend's mom, is one of the Little Rock Nine, Carlotta Walls Lanier. So she wrote a book about her experience being a member of the Little Rock Nine. Little Rock Nine in the 50s, they were in Little Rock, Arkansas, trying to go to school. And the people in Little Rock were not having it. So they were desegregating the public school system in Little Rock, Arkansas. And in this book, it's a phenomenal book, read it. In this book, she talks about how that first year in school, she was called the N-word almost every single day. She was spit on, she was pushed, she was yelled at, attacked. Do we not teach this? Because it could be offensive to
Offensive.
certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Do we not teach this because we think white students might have a comical, comedic reaction? And if that's what this mother is saying, I would question, why do you even have your kid in this school to begin with?
That's a great question.
If you feel that the student body is not embracing your child as a young black man and that he's going to be singled out, why is he in this school to begin with?
Yeah.
But in addition to that, the thing that upset
I mean,
me the most about
there's a education piece. I mean, it is sometimes hard for black students to get into some of these elite private schools, to get the same level of education that these their white students are receiving. So,
and I agree with that, but in the same vein, like, if you are concerned about how a book is being presented in his class, how is he receiving a fair education if you were concerned about how the other students are going to react to that. And the thing that upset me the most about this topic was that this young man was expelled. Now,
But
we're
it
dealing
wasn't
with semantics here
semantics. Yeah, okay.
because the school says he was unenrolled.
Yeah.
Which is like, Jada Pinkett talking about entanglements versus saying she had an affair. He was expelled. He was expelled from school, not for something that he did, but because of what Neo talked about earlier, his mother's actions, because this whole argument ensued and it became a big kerfuffle, a big brouhaha. She made comments allegedly, I'm a journalist, so I have to use allegedly. She allegedly made comments in a Facebook post where she was attacking the Black teacher and called her a disgrace to the Black race. And so it just became so inflammatory that this young man was caught in the middle. And he talked about how he thought he was going to be a lifer at this school. This is the only school he's ever attended. He never, anticipated that he was going to be unenrolled over an argument about a book in which he said nothing. These were the adults behaving badly. So I'm mad at the mama.
Yeah.
And I'm mad at the school.
I'm disappointed at mama. Yeah, I kind of agree with your school. I mean, they should work out something for the child. I mean, for the sake of the child. The school should work out something, understanding that the mother is the problem, because I had a problem mama too. So I'd be really disappointed if I got kicked out of school because of my problem mama.
And that's not to say that her concerns aren't real. But I think if you think about the full context of it, as a teacher, then what am I allowed to teach?
Yeah.
Like, what am I allowed to teach?
So there's a great comment from Robin Johnson. From what I read, the parent was concerned for how isolated the child was feeling from these readings. On one hand, the whole experience needs to be discussed, right? The other hand is, if these kids would isolate the children of color in the classroom, then another reading should be chosen. So, I mean, she's making a good point that
but
maybe Fences isn't the best reading for that class.
Yeah.
But then do you not teach the narrative of Frederick Douglass?
Like what doesn't involve?
And I'm not really teaching. I don't teach based on what I think my white students, and I have yet to have a white student in my Howard classes. I have white students over the summer with the School of the New York Times, but I'm not basing my curriculum on what I think my white students might react to. And again, if that's the case, then is this really a safe environment for the student to begin with?
So another comment from Candace Winston. She says there's a quote. Miss Fox sent an email where the school said Miss Fox sent an email to the school's director of equity and inclusion calling her a disgrace to the Black community. So that's why I'm speaking to the type of person we may be dealing with. That we're dealing with an angry person, not necessarily an angry Black woman or anything, but just it generally sounds like an angry person.
He's a lawyer too.
And I don't want to call her angry. I understand as a mother, you want to protect your child.
Sure. She
Especially
seemed pretty angry to me.
Where he's the minority. However, but I don't want to use angry because I don't want that negative connotation or that negative trope about, angry Black women. But in the same vein, I'm just like, okay, what do you want me to teach? I teach again at Howard. This past semester, we read several pieces of literature, several, texts, articles, essays that use the N-word. Again, these are predominantly Black students. But would I refrain from introducing a classroom of white students from that? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Absolutely.
I mean,
this is our history.
And again, there's a level of equality we need to speak on. I mean, so So Kevin Thaxton says, I think Uncle Tom's Cabin isn't bad. Uncle Tom wasn't a snitch. He just wasn't militant. There's a history behind Uncle Tom's Cabin. Um, yeah,
Well,
because
first of
it
all,
was taken and it was the narrative was manipulated. The public narrative of what the story was about was very different than what it's actually about. But go ahead,
but
first of
also
all.
too, first of all, the author of Uncle Tom's Cabin, Harriet Beecher Stowe, she was no friend to other female Black writers, particularly Harriet Jacobs, who wrote Incident in the Life of the Slave Girl back at that time. So I kind of get a little triggered when I hear people talk about Uncle Tom's Cabin. My issue with Uncle Tom's Cabin, and it's a great novel, it's a great book, but people took that book and used that as a negative moniker towards Black people, Black men in particular, not realizing that there's a difference between Uncle Tom's Cabin and the real Uncle Tom,
What an
who
Uncle
was
Tom
a young
is.
man named Josiah Henson, who was not an Uncle Tom
No, he wasn't. Yeah.
at all.
Last comment. So Latoya Blakely says we must confront it if we want to be better. So
Yeah.
totally agree. All right, let's move on to our next hot topic. Great discussion, everyone. Great discussion. Great comments online as well.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, next up is Gianni Storm. Is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans, Gianni?
Come through.
So this is some shenanigans. I
Shenanigans.
have a I have a question. Are you guys ready to try some appetizing gal steak pig for the holidays? This past Monday, the FDA approved genetically engineering pigs due to the sugars in non-modified pigs that are actually harmful and can also cause organ rejection. So this is the first ever approval of an animal biotechnology product for both food and as a potential for medicine. So genome edited pigs, provide organ free of viruses common in pigs, but also harmful to humans. You all know genetically engineered food, like we've all heard of that since I know Rob and I talked about this before the show, but we've said that it's been going on forever. But my question to the panel is, are you guys eating genome edited animals voluntarily?
Genome edited. Let's start with Lizzie Enders on that one.
So I am a pescatarian, but even with my pescatarian tendencies, I don't eat a lot of seafood anymore, not as much as I used to. But I definitely don't eat chicken, red meat, or pork. Although I do cook with bacon fat. I do cook with bacon fat.
See?
But I mean,
Got that swine.
do I want GMO salmon? Do I want GMO shrimp?
You might. It might be tastier. It might be
I don't know.
juicier. Who knows?
I do think it's a little weird to have genetically altered food for consumption. Now, the other reasons that they were saying that it might be effective in terms of the purposes of drugs and they help, in the medical field, I get that. But for consumption, I don't know. I like, my wild caught salmon. I like that.
Yeah,
Fresh.
I'll jump in here. When I saw the story, I remembered that they had approved the genetically modified salmon that Lizzie keeps talking about. I think it's about 5 years ago or so. And
2015.
Yeah, and then before that, they had approved some other GMOs for testing for drugs in animals, but the salmon was the first genetically modified thing for food, animal, and then I know we've had genetically modified plants, but it was definitely the first genetically modified animal. And then this is the first one for food and medical, the pigs. So, I'm 100% not surprised at this, but I'm about 55% okay with it. 45% not okay, and for a couple of reasons. One, I would like the products to be marked as GMO for one, because at least for a
Yeah.
while, so that we can track its actual effects, because we really don't know how this GMO stuff will affect us, right? But as I was saying when Lizzie was talking, it might be better. Who knows? I mean, the salmon grow faster and stuff, but it might be better. I don't know. But second, I'm an animal lover, so I'm one of those people who are torn over the slaughter of sentient creatures, for me to eat or use. But given I hypocritically still eat meat,
I was gonna say, are you a
I can't,
vegetarian?
I can't really claim that activist role. But I still love animals. I love animals, but I can't claim to be an activist. But with that said, the reason I'm mostly okay with this is because I'm honestly excited about the organ transplantation implications. I mean, given the number of pigs that are slaughtered for meat every year, if you're telling me a human child could potentially survive by transplanting a pig heart, I'm not against that. I'm just not.
I just
Mhm.
might not want to, if I were eating pig, I might not want to eat that same pig.
That's true. But the hypocrite in me wants to point out that it does open the door long term towards like genetic modification of humans, farming humans for organs, and so on and so forth. So not fully on board with it, but I'm not against it either. So I don't know. I'm like in between on this
How are they going to genetically modify me? Let me think about that.
one.
Genetically modify
They could help you with your
Ooh.
pancreas the next go around. You're
and so I'm sorry, Rob, before we get to you. So initially when I read this story, Gianni, again, type 1 diabetic here, my
hmm
pancreas does not work. Do
hmm
not try to send me in holistic, remedies or anything like that. I have a defective pancreas.
Yep.
I produce no insulin at all. But this made me think, would this be a part of any future medical
Yep.
breakthroughs
Mhm.
as it relates to
hmm
organs that don't work?
Yep.
As it relates to diabetes and jump starting a pancreas or getting a new pancreas,
Yeah.
because there really
Yeah.
isn't a pancreas transplant um, operation
Yeah.
going on. And so, would this be a link to that? And I don't expect to see any of this research proven to be effective in my lifetime, but for the future generations, like, would this be something that would help that process? So, I'm definitely open to the medical side of it.
Oh, I
Robbie?
just I just want to point out before you, Robbie, I'm sorry, but I just saw a couple of great comments. So I saw one from Robin Johnson, who is a veterinarian. She says pig valves are used in heart transplants already. She also said
Mm,
breeding is genetic modification. Just keep that in mind.
mm.
So, okay, Robbie.
Yeah, well, that's it. We've been eating genetically modified foods for quite some time, and while I was
Canadians?
doing
Are
some,
you
I mean,
Canadians?
worldwide.
I want to blame everything on Canada. I want to blame everything on Canada, but go
I know you
ahead.
do. I know you do. But that's it. I think it was in the 70s when they were looking at the world food shortages. Wheat was genetically modified. And chickens have been selectively modified, genetically modified. So if you're sitting down for breakfast of cereal and eggs, you're eating GMO foods. Um, I don't. I don't really see the issue with this move by the FDA because it is a different breed of pig that's been engineered at Cal-Al, I believe that is what the reduction is, and that's a reduction in some of the sugars and saccharides in the pig system that'll make them more compatible for transplantation with humans, which is absolutely amazing. Um, what's it? Ham is typically sweet. That's one of the enjoyable attributes of it. So now, if we're just left with the salty, I don't know how enjoyable that's going to be. I would be curious to try it out. Absolutely, would be curious to try it out to see if there is a difference. Um, but I I'm not lying to myself. I know that I eat genetically modified foods on a weekly basis. So why am I going to draw the line there?
Yeah. Yanni Storm, what were your thoughts?
Um, I think that genetically modified and well, I'm kind of having a difficulty. Is genetically modified and genetically engineered the same thing? Because I know modified is a general term. You can modify
Basically,
or alter anything, but
basically the
engineered
same.
is okay. Okay. Then my point then is I think that I wouldn't personally try it, but I like that Rob said that he's not going to lie to himself and act like he isn't eating GMO foods. And I know that I am. I just don't know which foods they are. And I think that if I did know, if there were labels and things like that, then I would make a conscious choice not to, only because I have a mistrust. Like I don't know what's going on. If I were to see the process maybe of how they genetically engineer, if I were to get involved or just do my own
Oh, you
research
don't
on
want to
it.
see all of that.
Oh, is it
Just think
nasty?
of just think of Jurassic Park, where they've rebuilt the DNA and they're missing a piece, so they cut in a piece of the frog. That's what they're doing,
Oh,
but then
fun.
the implementation.
But then they breed they breed after the so you could have genetic mutations and there could be a lot that goes on with that GMO food.
Honestly, I
Yeah.
think I'm with Gianni. I'm with
Viruses.
I don't think we really want to see what goes on and how
Okay.
our food is
That's
prepared for us. I don't think we really want to see all that.
but we
Like,
but we had to look at like viruses and things like that. I mean, we had the pandemic. We COVID was
Yeah.
from the transfer of a virus from an animal to a human. So I mean, we start genetically modifying things, and then we could have super viruses and super bugs and all that stuff. So,
just
uh,
Very
fix
true.
my pancreas. Fix my pancreas, y'all. Fix my pancreas.
That's all.
all right. So
Exactly.
Sherry Blaine Priest says, very interesting as I have a sister with type 1 diabetes. The struggles are real, and some sort of option would be welcome. Mike Winter says, I guess nobody saw that I posted earlier about France's announcement today of approving genetic modification of soldiers, or like China.
See, be patient, Mike
Wow.
Winner. You're the only one on here. Be patient.
Jacqueline
Yeah.
Rom says, you do not want to see how the sausage is made. You
Or the
don't.
bologna.
Sausage, particularly
Bologna.
sausage. Oh my gosh.
Ew.
Kevin Thaxton says, swine pancreas, question mark, question mark. Little oink, oink Jenkins.
Yes, that makes
Oink, oink.
that makes
All
sense.
right. All right, that was a great topic, Gianni Storm.
Thank you,
Rob B,
Rob.
let's move on to yours.
Lies,
Uh-oh, here we
shenanigans.
go. Here we go.
Rob B, what we got?
Here
What we got, Rob B? Truth, liar, shenanigans.
We got some truth and shenanigans, as always.
Shenanigans.
Um,
Shenanigans.
yeah. So, Neo, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the image for me.
Sure.
Yeah. So, the woman on the right is Sahar Tabar, and in 2017, she captured viral fame with the photo on the left that depicted her as a zombified version of Angelina Jolie. Um, the images were initially thought to be a result of extreme plastic surgery, though she later explained that this was done via software and makeup. Uh, so this gave her some notoriety abroad, which is amazing, made her a little internet star, but it made her a target at home, where she was eventually arrested under Iran's strict public decency laws in late 2019. So now she was sentenced last week for corruption of young people and disrespecting the Islamic Republic and will spend the next 10 years in prison.
Wow.
So I just want to note that
And
Iran employs Shia law, and within Shia Islam, certain high jurists known as mujahids continue to pronounce religious doctrine over vast areas that are currently under the subject of state jurisdiction. So there's still a lot of that, I guess, fundamentalist application of the law. So I'm looking for a reaction to the plight of this young woman who is sentenced for posting an amazing makeup and editing
did a
image.
pretty good
And
job. I give her credit.
Did an amazing job.
yeah, so I guess a reaction to her work. And then do you see anything offensive with the image that she created?
We see anything
Start with,
offensive? Okay.
start with Johnny.
Um, When I first read this, Rob, I really liked your topic because I was furious. Because I was like, are you serious? I know that Iran has way different customs and laws. Like you said, they have a whole different system. But I was just like, she's just expressing herself. Like she's so creative. I can see her on a cinema doing makeup for people and transforming them into like creatures and stuff like that. Because she's just very talented. But I know
Face
that
Off.
yeah,
Face Off. That was
yeah.
the show on my channel. Face Off.
Face Off, exactly, the makeup wars. I can see her doing
Yeah.
that. So it's just like, it's just kind of really disgusting, honestly, to me that they locked her up for 10 years. Like her life is gone. And I know that her mom and stuff is actually trying to reach out to Angelina Jolie for yeah, for help, which is like a long cry. But you know, I think that it's just disgusting to me, and I'm really actually upset. I wish there was actually something we could do about it because it really it bothers me. She's so young. She's so young.
Izzy, what you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just in that light, she's currently about 19 to 23. We don't have an actual birth date for her, but yeah, very young woman.
Okay. Izzy?
So Johnny just mentioned that, her mom reached out to Angelina Jolie for help. I would reach out to Jennifer Aniston because I feel like Jennifer Aniston probably put her up to this,
Jennifer
making
Aniston?
a zombie version
Oh, you mean
of
Angelina
Angelina
Jolie?
Jolie, who slept
Oh,
with her husband
look, I
and
know,
all
no, you,
her marriage. So
now I see where you're going.
I lay this on the feet of Jennifer Aniston. You know what you did. Help this young woman out. But I'm with Johnny in that when I first saw this, when Rob first posted this as his possible topic for today, like I had never heard of this young lady before. I had never seen the images, so I was kind of confused. But then, to hear that she's been sentenced to 10 years in prison for this, it makes you realize, even though we are at a very horrible point, and that's the weakest word I can come up with right now, but we are in a transitional period here in the United States as it relates to the social climate, social injustice, but this brings it all back to the freedoms that we do have here, and the fact that a woman can be sentenced to jail for creating a zombie-like character is insane. And so I feel for this young lady. I feel for her parents. I think that this is something that Hollywood needs to pay attention to speak out on. And I know that, we kind of are in a tit for tat, a kerfuffle with Iran. And so they're not necessarily going to listen to anything we have to say about their laws and how they implement justice. But in the same vein, like, think about it. Like, think about, all of the TikTok videos or all of the IG, Instagram videos that we see of people, and they are creating different personas, they're putting on makeup, they're doing dances. Think about doing that and then having your government sentencing you to 10 years in prison for that. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, so so I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's crazy to me. Let's say for a second she did break the law, and she had some inkling that what she was doing was wrong. I'm with you. 10 years is absolutely crazy, especially for someone so young, making a seemingly minor mistake. But as much as I hate the sentence, I also think we should stay out of
Don't say
Iran's.
it.
I think we should stay out of Iran's business. So
Don't say it.
Are you scared of Iran?
I'm not scared of that. But look, so the U.S. has given people life sentences for carrying the equivalent of dandelion. The marijuana convictions in the U.S. are absolutely absurd, and we're just getting around to doing something about it. Yet we want to be all up in Iran's handling of crimes by some, an internet star. I'm not cool with that. I don't agree with the sentence and all that. But you know, Iran is a sovereign nation. As long as it's not crimes against humanity and children, you know, I say let them do what they do. It's not a good thing, but let them do what they do. But wait.
That's what Amnesty International is for.
Well, yeah, so they can get all involved in that.
Speak out and advocate against these crimes.
But my point is, we need to get our own justice system in order first before we start throwing rocks from our own glass houses. Because if you look at some of these convictions,
why is it that people think that we can't multitask? So are we to again turn a blind eye to what's going on in Nigeria right now?
No, because we're talking about crimes against humanity. This is a woman who's just this is a young woman. If she broke the law and they listen, we put
in Nigeria they are killing people.
Yes, so that's crimes against humanity. Yes.
Exactly.
This is a woman who was put in jail for 10 years for breaking the law.
For violating bullshit laws.
Fine. And so we should get involved in that. I am talking about this particular case, and I am telling you that this is not something we should really care about compared to what we have to fix at home.
No one's saying that we're going to send the troops into Iran and start a war over this. But yes, there should be an outcry. There should be someone who is saying that this is not right. Like, you can't pick and choose.
We can't decide what's right and wrong in other people's country when we can't even figure out, when we don't get it right. We're not even getting it right. Americans are not getting it right. When Americans get it right, then they can start talking about what's wrong.
Because we can't get our shit right here, then it's okay.
Crimes against humanity, I'm all about that. I'm all about that.
How is this not a crime against humanity?
Because she broke the law, she's going to jail for 10 years.
And
that's not a crime against humanity. She's not. Nobody died. Nobody was abused. Nobody was tortured.
That's what they're saying in these other countries, that she broke the law. South Africa said that Nelson Mandela broke the law. He was in jail for over 20 years. Should we not speak out about that? Like, come on.
I'm saying we need to get our shit together first. I cussed. Sorry. Lizzie got me cussing. Lizzie got me cussing.
What?
These people who can't multitask, that is what makes me scared. Like, you can't do two things at once. You can't get your shit together, but also advocate for somebody else.
All right. Listen, I think we got the wrong. I just don't think we. I don't think there's. I really.
Don't need to advocate for anything.
I think it was crazy, but we're getting life sentences over here. We're getting life sentences.
So,
and wasn't nobody doing nothing about those life sentences until a couple of months ago.
You deal with it yourself, because we all got to get our shit together. We all got to get
our shit together. A couple of months ago. Ain't nobody doing nothing until a couple of months ago, and now we want to be all up in Iran.
Sherry Lane. Sherry Lane said,
what are you talking about? That doesn't even make any sense. And you know it. That's why you're laughing. You know that doesn't make any sense.
It makes absolute sense. All right, what you got? What you got, John? You got some comments online?
Yeah. Sherry Priest said, "Wow, Robbie, epic topic, exciting topic." We have a new commenter. Ernest Cooper said, "What did MLK say about unjust laws?" Saima Fatimi, forgive me if I said your name wrong, said, "I think we have a right to object to the crazy."
Thank you. Thank you.
And Latoya Blakely said, "Too true. We got to fix home too."
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But she said, but notice she said the operative word is two.
Fair enough.
That means we can do multiple things at once. And again, no one's saying send the troops.
We need to get to it.
No one's saying send the troops to Iran. That is not what Rob D or this article proposed. But making everyone aware of this injustice, yes, we should.
I just don't think it's significant injustice. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I think it's excessive, but that's a personal opinion. You know, again,
that's not a personal opinion, Neil. That's not a personal opinion. That is an international opinion. If you're stepping out of traditions that are very patriarchal, that oppress women traditionally, this woman really, I mean, her crime is just a crime of self-expression. She wanted to create something that got noticed, and it did. There is nothing truly offensive about this image. Now, unfortunately, someone in a position of legal authority in Iran felt that this went against the moral code of society. And this is why you want to keep
of their society.
Separation of church and state is so integral. And for me, I brought this up, and
we're painting a brush on our brushes on another person. I just
and they paint their brush on you, Neo. When when Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion are shooting their video together, Iran is looking at them and going, "These dirty, disgusting women. They should be brought out to the edge of the city and stoned." Exactly. So that's a culture clash. But I wanted to bring this up in the context of what oppression really is. So when I hear the anti-maskers, when I hear the COVID non-believers saying, no, this is a violation of my rights, I'm being oppressed because I'm being asked to do the right thing for the next person, you're not being oppressed. This young woman is a fine example of what oppression is. So if you're thinking that, wearing a mask, being socially distanced, not going to visit your friends, not going out to the bars is oppression, check your privilege.
All right.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thanks, Neo. Thanks, Liz.
All right, let's move on. Those are some good comments. Those are good, good topic. All right, okay. All right, so it's my turn. All right, so it's Truth Lies Shenanigans. I thought it was shenanigans. So, all right, so guys, the Electoral College has voted and it's done. Biden is officially 100% president-elect. And there's nothing Proud Boys, Mitch McConnell, Agent Orange can do about it. But Biden gave a speech after the vote. His speeches thus far have been all about bringing the country together, but this one seemed to go right after Trump.
Have certified the winning candidate. The people voted. They voted in record numbers. It should be celebrated, not attacked. More than 7 million votes over the number of votes cast for my opponent. 306 electoral votes is the same number of electoral votes that Donald Trump received in 2016. President Trump called the Electoral College tally a landslide. By his own standards, these numbers represented a clear victory then. They do so now. If anyone didn't know before, they know now. In America, politicians don't take power. People grant power to them. And we now know nothing, not even a pandemic or an abuse of power, can extinguish that flame. Courageous state and local officials and election workers. And they wouldn't be bullied into saying anything different. These patriotic Americans are subject to verbal abuse and even threats of physical violence. Hope we never again see anyone subjected to the kind of threats and abuse we saw in this election. Simply unconscionable. The Trump campaign brought dozens and dozens and dozens of legal challenges and ultimately to the United States Supreme Court twice. They were heard by more than 80 judges across this country. Every case, no cause or evidence was found to reverse or question or dispute the results. The results in Georgia were counted 3 times. Didn't change the outcome. Wisconsin saw our margin grow. Michigan was 14 times the margin 4 years ago. Our margin in Pennsylvania was nearly twice the size. None of this has stopped baseless claims about the legitimacy of the results. Even more stunning was an effort by elected officials in one group of states to try to get the Supreme Court to wipe out the votes of more than 20 million Americans and to hand the presidency to a candidate who lost the Electoral College, lost the popular vote, and lost each and every one of the states they were trying to reverse. We've never seen it before. A judge appointed by President Trump wrote, quote, "This court has allowed the plaintiff a chance to make his case, and he has lost on the merit."
I don't know. Everybody knows he said lost a lot. So my question to you is, was all the shade really necessary? What do you think, Gianni Storm?
Absolutely, it was necessary. I feel like Joe was stating his claim, like he was stating his point. He had to let Trump know what was up. So he, in a subtle politician kind of way, was basically like, yeah, you see the numbers. So yeah, I think that's what that was for.
Oh.
Just kick this all out.
Oh yeah, we just got everything is. Yeah, we done closed the show early. Gianni, you didn't close the show. It's all live TV. All right, what do you think, Robbie?
Um, I was impressed. It's nice to know that future POTUS can throw shade with decorum. Because had it been Donald Trump up there, he would have been talking about how Joe is the worst at this and how he's the best at that and how that individual who didn't grant his court decision is the worst. I'm glad that that's going to be behind us very soon. And yeah, the shade absolutely warranted. It would have been nice if you would have gone for the juggler a little bit more because, well,
I
but
was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. Lizzie?
I'm with Rob B. Like, I thought he was kind of nice with it all. Like, to me, that wasn't really shade. But you know, in the if we want to celebrate what he was saying, you know, harken back to our boy Biggie Smalls. If you don't know, now you know, Trump. It's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing Rob was. I was like, I mean, he was throwing a lot of shade. His whole speech was like basically shade. He was just going right after Trump.
It was subtle shade.
It was subtle.
It was
I don't know. It seemed pretty direct to me, but I was telling Rob, and I was telling Rob pre-show, I was like, you know, if it were Obama would have killed him with the same speech. He would have delivered it like he would have just
He would have been more attractive delivering it, maybe.
Somebody's an Obama fan. Uh-oh, Gianni. Don't let me get Michelle up on this show. I'm gonna let her know.
I tagged Michelle for this show earlier, so be careful.
She might be watching. Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
I take her man.
I don't want
and we've seen the former first lady in sleeveless dresses. She's got those great arms, man. You got to watch out, girl.
You're right.
I don't think she's continuing to go high when her man is involved. I think she's gonna go low.
Wait.
No.
That sounded a little, you know, a little too she going low with her man involved. Hey.
No.
I don't know what you're trying to say there, Lizzie Enders.
We got your back. We got your back, girl.
Thank you. Because I don't think I could fight and win Michelle. She has the 2 daughters and everything. They'll all tag team.
You can't say it out loud. You cannot say it out loud. If you gotta be like, come, Michelle, come, girl.
You're right. You're right.
Bring it.
Right.
And then you call Lizzie. Then you call
Yeah,
Lizzie.
I was gonna say now there's the Secret Service detail going. Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah, I love it.
Mike Wolf, he says it's like Dalton said, you got to be nice until it's time to be not nice. Yeah, it was time to be not nice. Latoya Blakely, look, President-elect Biden has been real polite up till now, and he's ready to get to the business of taking this country away from the brink of ruin. And his transition has been delayed by baseless claims of fraud. Absolute madness.
Preach.
Oh, and Toya also said, tell her, Rob, Michelle gonna get you, Gianni. Jacqueline Robinson says, Southside Chicago in the house.
Hey,
Rupka says,
Gianni, I'm from DC. I got your back.
She got your back.
Period.
Rupka says he looked like he'd been in that basement, real shady and pale. I'm with you, Gianni. All right. That's it for our hot topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, guys, that was fun. Great hot topics. This was a fiery one today. Let's get into our game show. Uh-oh, what happened to my game show? All right, so today's game is going to be Would You Rather. Where is it today? It's missing. All right. So we're just going to have to wing this one, guys. We're going to have to wing this one. So we ready?
I mean, can we get the... Okay, there. We're ready.
All right. So we're playing Would You Rather. All right. And then it's real simple. I'm just going to ask you 2 questions. and say, would you rather this? Would you rather that? And then I'll tell you the most popular answer, and whoever matches the most popular answer gets a point. Are you ready? All right. Would you rather live in a virtual reality where you are all powerful, or live in the real world and be able to go anywhere but not be able to interact with anyone or anything?
Horrible.
Both choices are horrible. Yeah.
So complete isolation or God mode. So I'm taking
Basically.
God mode.
You taking
Yeah.
God mode? Okay.
Yeah, at least I can interact with people and things.
So virtual reality. So I expect that from a gamer, I guess.
And if you and if you're
It's
all
just the not being
powerful,
able to not being able to interact with people or my environment. That's a no-go.
Terrifying. Yeah.
All right. So let's
but
see
if
the
you're all
answer.
powerful, you can make other things happen because you have the power.
So everybody is saying virtual reality, right?
God.
All right. The answer is live in the real world and be able to go anywhere, but not be able to interact with anything or anyone.
So I want to know if those people.
So
gave
nobody
that
gets a
answer
point.
Pre-pandemic. Like, when did those
I don't know.
Exactly.
Because clearly folks during the pandemic are not choosing that answer.
All right. So would you rather always be able to see 5 minutes into the future or always be able to see 100 years into the future?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. I'm not living 100 years from now. 5 minutes.
All right, let's see. The answer is 5 minutes into the future. So you all get a point. Ding, ding, ding. All right. All right. Would you rather super sensitive taste or super sensitive hearing?
Oh, hearing.
I would say super sensitive hearing as well. Yeah. Dog-like hearing.
What are you saying, Lizzie?
I don't know. Like, my dad had a hearing aid at one
Latoya is all
point,
about 5 minutes.
and he threw them in the trash because of the super sensitive hearing. So, but I like the bionic woman, so I'm gonna say super sensitive hearing.
All right, let's see.
Bionic woman.
Oh, super sensitive hearing is correct. All right, so everybody gets another point. So 2 points all around. All right. Would you rather know the history of every object you touched or be able to talk to animals?
Walk and talk with the animal. Nope.
No.
Oh, I want to talk to animals.
So everybody's animals?
We good.
I want to know what the chipmunks are fighting about.
This does seem relatively obvious.
No, I want to know the history of every subject.
Everything touched.
Yeah, that
Let's
is
see.
kind of interesting too, though.
Let's
The
see.
history, that's
Talk to the animals. All right. So
I already have our own code. We got our language.
all right. Robbie Rock and Gianni Storm are in the lead. Let's see. All right. Would you rather be a reverse centaur or reverse mermaid? So
Ooh, a
a
reverse
centaur
mermaid.
is a man, well, is a human with a horse butt.
Oh.
And a mermaid is a
human body with a horse head or a human body with a fish head.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you rather a horse head or a fish head?
Mermaid. I could do a mermaid.
As
Is
Cooper
just
says, Sagittarius.
a very tight evening gown. That's a mermaid. Very tight evening gown. I can't do nothing with a horse body. Like, I can't.
Well, it's a human body. You have a horse head.
Yeah. So
I thought it was the
see
opposite.
reverse-
It was a horse body, human head.
Opposite.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and then
It's a reverse centaur. Centaur is a human head.
Oh, I thought you meant reverse, like turn it around. Okay.
Like it's walking backwards.
Jacqueline Robinson's all about a mermaid.
Ew, I wouldn't want to be either of those.
Yeah,
then
they're
I
both
have
gross.
fish
You know, you'd have a fish head
Yeah.
with gills and
Gross.
eyes on the side of your face.
See?
But
And
I
because
still
the
have,
gills,
my girl mermaid body.
You
Yeah.
would have a human body.
Yep. You would have a nice.
My girl Newman body.
The Newman body. Yes, the Newman
Yep.
body.
Mermaid.
So,
yes.
so everybody's about
Reverse
mermaid.
mermaid.
You all want fish
Mermaid
heads?
breathing underwater with gills? Let me up.
Oh, reverse centaur. Nobody gets a point.
Be a centaur.
Nobody gets a point. All right. This will be all right. So let's see. Gianni's got 3. Robbie's got 3. Lizzie's got 2. All right. Would you rather have one real get out of jail free card or have a key that opens any door?
Get out of jail free. Listen, the revolution is coming. I might have to beat a mofo down. I can get jail. So get out of jail free card.
A key that opens any door. Anybody? Any takers on that? No?
Oh yeah, I'm
I'll
gonna take the
take
key
that
that
one.
opens any door.
Yeah.
Because I'll
I'm taking the key
open
too.
my
I would take the key.
I'll
too.
open my jail cell door with
Oh,
it.
yeah. All right. All right. That leaves Gianni Storm. So that is correct. The key to any door. That leaves Gianni Storm and Robbie Rock in the lead with 4 points each. So Lizzie Enders, you are officially out of the game. This is between Robbie Rock and Gianni Storm. Let's see. Would you rather be able to talk to land animals? Would you be able to? Rather be able to talk to land animals, animals that fly, or be able to talk to animals that live underwater?
Ooh, easy.
I would say the ones that fly.
The land animals,
Oh,
and
you
the
picked
animals
the
that
same
fly.
thing. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yep, land animals. All right, we're going to try the last one, and then I'm just going to pick a winner. All right. So, would you rather have everything you draw become real, but be terrible at drawing, or be able to fly, but only as fast as you can walk?
Fly.
Oh, but
Yeah.
Everything you draw becomes real.
Yeah, you need to be able to run, y'all.
yeah, I will do the drawing because I can only fly at like 2 miles per hour.
If
It's
that.
like floating.
All right, good. So
Straight up.
somebody's gonna win this one. Let's see. What is the answer? Let's see. It's be able to fly. Good job, Robbie. You win the game. Is that 2 in a row, Robbie?
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
It looks like everybody online is talking about flying. So
Wow, really, guys?
the toy is all about fly. Darius flying.
I won the last game with Panis.
Kevin was fly. Oh, that's true. Yeah, y'all gotta check out that TikTok. that was hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our shout outs. Let's close it out. All right, Johnny Storm. Who do you have to shout out?
I want to shout out Rebecca because we are actually announcing the kickoff of PLS Holiday Pets photo contest. So the graphics and promotion will be out following today, so tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and shout out to you because we worked hard on it. So thank you.
Robbie Rock.
Shout out to our audience. Shout out to everyone that's been participating in the conversation. It's amazing. Love your comments. We love your feedback. Shout out to Jose behind the scenes, doing a whole lot for us. It's
awesome. Loving
yeah.
Jose.
And that's it. Shout out to my co-host, man. It's awesome to work with you guys.
Lizzie Enders.
Oh, thank you. Now, I just want to give a shout out to the Negro Leagues of Baseball. So MLB decided they were going to finally, right a wrong in that they are going to recognize Negro League players, Negro meaning Black folks, Black players, Black baseball players who were denied any recognition for their talent, their play, their records, their stats. So finally, they're going to be acknowledged and put in the books. So props to the Negro Leagues. Satchel Paige, we see you, brother.
Satchel Paige. All right. I'm going to give some shout outs to the people online because we had a lot of interaction, a lot of people online today. We had Kevin Thaxton, Sherry Blaine Priest. Ade was on. He's back. Latoya, Dario Winter. We had, of course, Mike Winter as always. Jacqueline Robinson, Ernest Cooper. Really busy day today. Robin Johnson had a lot of contributions to today's conversation.
Hey,
Thank you, guys.
Ton of people on TikTok today. A few people on Instagram. We had some Instagram. We actually had a few people join us from Twitch. So great to see you guys.
Sweet.
Look like some comments online. Casual Liberals and Aaliyah Marie had a lot of comments for us on TikTok. So thank you guys for joining us. Big shout outs to you guys. All right. Thanks for the shout outs. Good shout outs, guys. Thank you. All right. So that's all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We hope maybe you learned something, gained a new perspective, or even got some things off your chest. Don't forget to keep supporting us. We need your support to keep this going. Please like, follow, subscribe at TLS Live Show. If you missed any of today's episode, check out our clips online on YouTube, Facebook, tomorrow, and share those out so we can get the word out. And don't forget to subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google, Alexa. Just search Truth, Lies, Shenanigans. Had a fun time tonight, guys. Our next live show is on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. And our winner for today's game and our final thought goes to Rob B. Rock.
All right. So December 26th is Boxing Day, and in Canada, that is a shopping day. It's what we had before you introduced us to Black Friday. I will not be seeing my family for a big Boxing Day family reunion this year because of COVID. I better not see y'all in shopping lines at the mall on Boxing Day.
On Boxing Day. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Shenanigans.